Hello, hello. We are live. We are here for our sixth day of our early intervention series, which was, like I said, a six-part series. And I hope you were able to join us for all 6 days. This does conclude our discussion on early intervention. But if you missed any of the videos that I did, I will leave a link to them in the description below so you can binge watch all 6 videos. Um, I guess I want to start this video off before we get going with, I hope this was worth a ton of information to you guys because all I'm really here to do is serve you. I do this every day in families' homes. Yes, it's a little bit different talking to a computer, but I know you're out there and I know you're behind the screen. So this week I got out of my own way. I know I'm not physically sitting in your home on your couch or at your table, but I kind of am. If you're sitting on your couch right now and at your table, I'm there with you, even though it's online and it's a little bit different for me. But that's my goal of doing this. So if you guys want to see any series that you want me to do, if you want me to talk about a specific topic when it comes to babies and toddlers, or if you have any specific questions, just put those in the chat or in the comment section below. So I wanted to kind of get that out of the way because this has been a really exciting 6 days for me. So I hope that I have served you well and that you have also enjoyed it. So today, without further ado, we are talking all about the transition process. And this one can be a little bit tricky for families to understand and to navigate, especially since we start talking about it so soon in the process, which I'll get into here in a minute. So just really quickly, why families trust me. I've been a developmental pediatrician and a service coordinator for over 10 years, seeing both sides of the early intervention program. I did go a little bit more in depth on this on day one if you want to watch that, but feel free to screenshot this and take a look. And this was the order of our live series. We started with, should I call early intervention? So maybe you were obviously a little bit nervous, if you should take that step into actually calling. I show you how to call, who to call, what to do. I walk you through the whole process. And now we are on transition. Okay, so what has happened so far? Now remember, your little one is now in early intervention. So you have made the call or someone else has made the call, but remember that parents can refer to the early intervention program in your state, and you referred your little one. You were then contacted by a service coordinator in your area to schedule that intake meeting. The intake was completed. That was done either in person or by phone. And the evaluations took place as well as the IFSP meeting. And your child has been getting ongoing services for a set amount of time. Now, today, we are going to talk about the transition process into ECE or Early Childhood Education program in your home-based school district. So I do want you to remember that early intervention is a birth to 36-month program. So your little one will age out the day before their 3rd birthday. As I've said in all of these videos, if your little one is close to that 36-month range, feel free to call early intervention anyway, because we can help with that referral process, or the transition process, which is what we're talking about today. So don't ever hesitate to call them. Even if we can't get ongoing services set up, we will help with that transition process into that early childhood program. And then down here, you're welcome to screenshot this. I also have it in the description below, but this is the link to the early intervention. It's a link to the CDC, which gives a list of early intervention programs in your state. So you'll go to this link, you'll find your state, and you will have the contact information you need from there. Okay, so what is transition and what is the timeline? We are state funded, so we are always on a timeline, just like we were with that, the intake and also the evaluations. The same holds true for the transition. The transition from early intervention, which is EI, to early childhood education, which is the ECE that I talk about, is a structured process mandated to begin no later than 6 months before your child's 3rd birthday. And I know to some parents, especially when we bring it up around 2 years old, 2.5, they're like, I'm not ready to start thinking about preschool yet. But it is important that we get this done in a timely manner, and we do have to stick to these timelines. With the formal transition conference, which I will talk about, it needs to be held at least 90 days before before your child's third birthday. And then I put down here, if you are a therapist or an EI family from a different state, I would love to know if this is very similar to what you go through in your specific state. So here's just really quickly transition meeting process, and I'll go into this a little bit more in depth here in a minute. So that first meeting that I'm talking about, that transition conference planning meeting, is with the school district, a representative from the school district, and it's typically just a really quick meet and greet. Depending on how many questions the family has, it usually takes 15 minutes to a half hour. And this is that meeting that I'm talking about. So this meeting happens while your little one is in early intervention. Now, the second meeting is the assessment with the school district. They will reassess your child. Sometimes if early intervention has done their assessments already, they will take our reports and not do their own, especially if it's just within a couple of months. But typically the school district will assess your child as well. Some kiddos that qualify for early intervention don't always qualify for school-based services. I don't see that happening a ton, but it definitely does happen. All of our paperwork from early intervention reports, anything else that's in the file will be sent to the school district once the release is signed by you as the parent. And then that third meeting is also with the school district to discuss their findings with you guys as parents and to let you know what your child, or if your child qualifies for the early childhood program. And if they do, an IEP, individualized education plan, will be created for your little one. And then so at that point, you're switching from that IFSP, individualized family service plan, which is family-based, to that IEP, which is more education-based. But again, that is part of our program and parents love that. So we do actually help transition into that early childhood program. I will mention something really quick that actually just popped into my head that I probably should have had in the slides. One of the questions I get asked often from parents is, does my child need to be potty trained? And the answer is no. That's a big question, because if you were to sign your little one up, even at 3 years old for, like a private preschool or something like that, usually they have to be potty trained, but this is an early childhood program, and they do not need to be potty trained. Okay, so as I mentioned yesterday, in the live yesterday when we talked about the exit meeting, I had mentioned that sometimes the service coordinators will have the school representative on the phone during that exit meeting. If not, a meeting will be set up with the school district, which will take place either by phone or in person. So it really just, like I said, depends on the service coordinator. Sometimes they make that part of the exit meeting, which happens, a little bit before your child ages out. If you do meet in person, the service coordinator is present, the school representative, and also the parents. The therapists don't typically attend the transition meeting, but they definitely can be invited. And most of the time we are very happy and interested in coming to, discuss your child and the progress they've made and all of that good stuff. This is typically a very quick meet and greet style meeting. Like I said, the school representative will go over their early childhood program, kind of the next steps, and then parents will have an opportunity to ask them any questions they have. I will say, two of the biggest questions I hear in these meetings are the one that I just told you. Does my child need to be potty trained? And then also busing. That gets a little scary for parents, the busing. I think I've heard it all. I'm driving my child, which is fine. Oh, I think my little one will have fun riding the bus, but I'm driving behind them every day. I mean, oh my goodness. It is kind of scary thinking about putting your little 3-year-old on the bus. So I totally get it. But that is definitely another concern or question that they have. And then being a service coordinator myself, like I had mentioned before, for 5 years, it has allowed me to be in that service coordinator mode, being the one setting up those meetings and conducting those meetings. And had I not been a service coordinator, I would not have known this process fully. So I am forever grateful for my opportunity as both a service coordinator and a pediatric developmental therapist in early intervention to see both sides. Okay, guys, that's really it for the transition process. It's quite simple, um, but I just wanted to kind of let you know how that works in case your service coordinator is bringing that up to you. Sometimes if parents have questions and ask the therapist, they'll say, well, your service coordinator will be talking with you about that soon because that is part of the process. Okay, so parents can contact early intervention even without a doctor's referral. Is that true or false? Go ahead and put that in the chat or in the comment section, depending on if you're here live or pre recorded. Let's see here. Yes, very good. If you guessed, so parents can contact early intervention even without a doctor's referral is true. You do not need a doctor's referral to refer your little one to early intervention. They just need to be between that birth and 36 months, keeping in mind that they age out the day before their third birthday. So that is another big misconception, is that you need a doctor's referral, and you do not. Go to this link down here, find the early intervention program in your state and make that referral. If you look on the slide where we did the referral, I lost track of my days, how referrals to early intervention work. I actually give, oh my goodness, examples in this so you can go look. I give you an example sheet of what it looks like when they take down your information and what some of the questions are that you'd be asked. Okay. A child must already have a diagnosis to qualify for early intervention. True or false? I hope I'm not making these too easy for you guys. And the answer is no, they do not need a diagnosis to be in early intervention. In fact, I would say most of our kiddos just have some sort of developmental delay, whether that be an expressive language delay or something like that. Yes, of course, we see plenty of kiddos that have conditions, diagnosis, prognosis, that come from NICU, who are very, very behind in their milestones. We have, autistic kiddos, kids with Down syndrome, Angelman syndrome. I'm pretty sure I've seen every syndrome there is that comes from a genetic test. However, I will tell you, I'm pretty sure new ones creep up all the time, because I have a kid on my caseload of a genetic disposition that I have never heard of. So I had to do some research before I went in and saw that kiddo. But most of the time, I would say it's just for, some sort of developmental delay. And then what percentage delay does your child need to have to qualify for early intervention? Do you remember that percentage that I gave you guys when we talked about the the evaluations? If you guessed 30%, then you are right. Your little one has to have a 30% delay or greater to qualify for early intervention. I will tell you that if they are close to that cutoff and we see that they really do need some assistance, but they're just not quite there. I mean, it might be a little one that's 28, 29%. We can definitely do clinical judgment at that point. Early intervention is birth to 5 years old. And we just talked about this. Early intervention is actually birth to 3 years old. Very good. And then your child will age out from early intervention the day before their third birthday. True or false? I feel like I'm kind of giving you guys the answers. Yes, that is true. They will age out from early intervention the day before their third birthday. And I also want you guys to put in the chat or the comments, how much did you actually learn about the early intervention program this week? And I want you also to put something that surprised you about early intervention that was kind of like, oh, I had no idea. So give me those comments. Let me know how this went. I'm really, really excited to be doing things like this. I am absolutely here to serve you. I've made it to day 6 of my live series, so I'm out of my own way and I'm ready to serve you. I promise. You guys just got to let me know what you want to see. All right, let me go ahead and switch. Let me go ahead and answer this question. This is a big one, and then I will let you guys go. It was nice hanging out with you for the last 6 days. I'm actually going to be sad. I am planning a Milestone Monday series, or not really a series. I post YouTube videos on Thursdays, but I'm thinking about doing a Milestone Monday live video every Monday so I can be with you in real time answering questions about the topic that I'm choosing to do on Mondays. If you want to know, or if you have any, um, anything that you want me to talk about, just let me know. Okay. How do I know if early intervention is actually working or if my child is just playing during sessions? This is a huge one. And sometimes I would say 1%, 2% of the time, we do actually have parents questioning, like, are you just playing with my child? Like, isn't this something I could be doing? So, this definitely is a question that comes up from parents. Um, it's actually, I would say this is probably one of the most common doubts that parents have, especially when sessions do look like it's just play. But I want you to remember this is so very important. Play is a child's work. I want to get that on a t shirt. um, that would be amazing because play is a child's work. And that's what I tell parents all the time. Early intervention is play based on purpose. But the difference between random playing and therapeutic play is that therapists are targeting specific developmental skills inside of those interactions, like communication, joint attention, which is so important, motor planning, and even problem solving. There's so many things that go into these play sessions. So you'll know it's working when you start seeing little things like small but consistent skill changes throughout your daily routines with your little one, even if it's subtle ones. Your child using skills outside of sessions that they're learning, maybe in therapy, but they're using it in their real life, everyday life. That's why, you know, being able to repeat these strategies or this homework, like I say, that the therapists give you during the therapy sessions is so important to use during your daily routine. So this really is a family-based program, and it's important that parents are present during the sessions. Progress in early intervention often shows up at home first, not actually during the sessions themselves, not always. If nothing is transferring into daily life over time, that's when the plan may actually need to be adjusted. And you can talk to your service coordinator or your therapist about that. But that's why we have those 6-month meetings. That way we can talk about your little one's progress and see how they're doing and kind of go from there, rewrite goal strategies as we need to. All right, guys, that's it. That's day 6. Make sure you look at all the videos below. They will be linked so you can just go through and you can binge watch those and learn all the things about early intervention. So I will be checking the comments. I'm here if you have any questions. Just let me know. All right. It's been so fun hanging out with you guys for these 6 days. I will see you later. All right. Bye-bye.